There comes a moment in every seeker's path when the words rise, but do not reach. The lips move, but the heavens are silent. And the prayer feels hollow. Have you ever stood in stillness, whispered your deepest longing to the universe, and felt nothing in return? No warmth. No sign. No sacred echo. Just silence. This isn't spiritual failure. This is a forgotten threshold. A veiled passage known only to mystics and the weary. A sign that you may be spiritually exhausted. Tonight, we do not run from the void. We step into it. Because when prayer feels empty, it is not because you are abandoned, but because you are being summoned into a deeper mystery. Spiritual exhaustion is not the same as emotional burnout or physical fatigue. It is far older, more elusive, and far more sacred. Imagine the soul as a sacred lamp, fueled not by oil, but by purpose, connection, and meaning. But over time, through endless seeking, unanswered prayers, spiritual striving without rest, even the purest flame can begin to flicker. This is not a punishment. This is not weakness. This is a signal. A soul signal that something within you is out of alignment. In the ancient Vedic texts, this state was known as tamas, a heavy, inertial energy that clouds clarity and numbs the heart. In the Christian mystic tradition, it was described as the dark night of the soul, a phrase made famous by Saint John of the Cross. He wrote, "In the dark night of the soul, bright flows the river of God." Paradoxical, isn't it? That the emptiness is itself sacred. Because here's the truth few dare to say. When your prayers feel empty, it may be that the divine is no longer answering in words, but in silence, in space, in sacred absence. Not to abandon you, but to invite you into a deeper kind of listening. Spiritual exhaustion rarely announces itself with thunder. It arrives like fog, soft, quiet, and hard to name. But those who learn to recognize its signs can walk through it, instead of being swallowed by it. Here are the subtle whispers of a soul that is weary. Candle 1. Numbness in prayer or meditation. The sacred practices you once cherished now feel mechanical. You light incense, you chant, you kneel, but your heart is unmoved. It's like trying to strike a match in water. This is not laziness. This is your inner well running dry. Candle 2. An overwhelming sense of meaninglessness. Not just in daily life, but in spiritual teachings themselves. Scriptures feel hollow. Quotes once etched in your heart now sound like empty platitudes. The path that once lit up your soul now seems like just another road. Candle 3. A deep, unspoken fatigue. Not the kind that sleep fixes. It's an existential tiredness. A desire to retreat from all things, even sacred ones. You don't want to read one more book, attend one more ceremony, or hear one more teaching. Candle 4. Envy or resentment of others' spiritual joy. When others share their divine downloads or mystical experiences, a hidden bitterness arises. Part of you feels guilty. The other part feels forgotten. As if the universe is speaking to everyone but you. Candle 5. Loss of trust in the process. You question if any of it is even real. You begin to wonder, have I been deceiving myself? Is the divine even listening? Or am I just speaking to shadows? These are not signs of spiritual death. They are signs of a spiritual metamorphosis. Like the chrysalis that appears lifeless before the butterfly emerges. You, too, may be in a sacred cocoon, mistaking stillness for failure. In the mysteries of every ancient tradition, there is a hidden teaching, one not shared with the casual believer, but reserved for the weary traveler who has touched the edge of emptiness. The void, the dark night, the great silence, is not a detour. It is a sacred passage. In the Kabbalistic tradition, it is known as tzimtzum, the idea that God, in order to create the world, had to withdraw, to create an empty space where something new could be born. This divine absence is not neglect. It is invitation. In Sufism, the mystic poet Rumi whispered, "Don't run away from grief, O soul. Look for the remedy inside the pain. Because the rose came from the thorn, and the ruby came from a stone." And in the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu taught, "It is the empty space in the pot that makes it useful. It is the space between the spokes that gives the wheel its power." You see, the emptiness you feel is not the end of your path. It is the pause between the inhale and the exhale. The sacred moment before revelation. But how do we walk through this dark corridor without losing our way? The mystics gave us tools, not to escape the void, but to survive it. To befriend it. 1. Stop forcing light. When the soul is tired, more light can feel like fire. Do not rush to heal. Do not rush to fix. Instead, sit. Let the darkness teach you. 2. Shift from seeking to listening. Close the books. Blow out the candles. Listen instead to the silence between thoughts, the breath between words. Sometimes, the divine does not shout, it whispers. 3. Offer empty prayers. Yes, even your hollow prayers. Offer them. Tell the truth. Speak the doubt. The ancient psalms are filled with cries of despair, and they were still called holy. 4. Embrace spiritual minimalism. Let go of the need to perform spirituality. Instead of 10 rituals, do 1. Do it slowly. Do it sincerely. Even if you feel nothing. Because in that emptiness, something ancient is stirring. Not outside of you, but within. You've walked through the void. You've tasted silence where once there was sweetness. And though it felt like absence, something ancient was awakening beneath the ashes. Now, let us speak not of escape, but of rebirth. The mystics knew, even the smallest ember can awaken the fire again. Fire 1. Return to simplicity. Go back to the basics, not in boredom, but in reverence. A single whispered word, thank you. A walk under the stars. A bowl of water blessed by your own hand. The soul responds not to complexity, but to sincerity. In Zen, there is a saying. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. Return to the sacred in the ordinary. Fire 2. Engage the body, reawaken the spirit. Spiritual exhaustion often traps us in the mind. To heal, descend. Move. Dance. Breathe deeply. Try Qigong, sacred movement, or walking meditations. Let your body remember what your mind has forgotten, that you are alive. Fire 3. Connect with sacred silence. Consciously. The emptiness is not your enemy. Make space for silence as ritual. Light a candle, not to speak, but to listen. Sit by water, or beneath a tree. Let the silence not be a void, but a presence. Fire 4. Reclaim sacred rest. Even the soul needs Sabbath. This is not laziness, it is a spiritual discipline. As taught in the book of Genesis, even the Creator rested. And in that rest, the divine declared all things good. Fire 5. Seek the flame in others. Sometimes your own spark is too dim to see. Sit with those whose light is gentle. Not loud teachers, but quiet ones. A wise friend. A spiritual elder. Even the company of a tree that has seen more winters than you. Let them remind you, gently, that light still lives within you. This is not the end of your journey. It is the turning of a season. When your prayers feel empty, it is not because you've failed. It is because your soul is making room for a deeper, quieter kind of light. There is a wisdom the world forgets. That even the most radiant stars are born in darkness. That silence, too, is sacred. And that when your prayers feel empty, it is not a sign of failure, but a deeper initiation. You are not broken. You are becoming. And what if the emptiness you feel is not a void to be filled, but a holy womb, carrying something vast and ancient, still unspoken? Tonight, I invite you, not to chase the light, but to honor the flicker, to tend the ember, to bow to the silence. Let your next prayer be not an effort, but an offering. Even if it is only a sigh. Even if it is just tears. Even if it is just your presence, sitting quietly, saying, I am here. That is enough. Because the divine still listens. Even in the silence. Especially in the silence. If this spoke to a hidden part of your soul, like, share, and subscribe to walk further with us. And tell us in the comments. Have your prayers ever felt empty? What helped you through the silence? Until next time. Keep your flame alive. Even when it flickers.